On to the news. It's Tuesday, December 9th, 2014, and here are the stories we're covering this week. The recent Sony Pictures hack attack has revealed a fatal flaw in the company's security practices, storing private information in unprotected Microsoft Excel files. IBM hopes to reuse old laptop batteries to power LED lights in the slums of India. Chipmaker Imagination have unveiled a rival for the Raspberry Pi microcomputer, and it starts shipping next month. And the best of the BioShock series may be coming to Linux if the Steam database indicator is any indicator. These stories are coming right up. Don't go anywhere.
This is the story of Operation Christmas Child. To some, it may just be a shoebox, but to millions, it is the start of the greatest journey. Traveling the world, sent with prayer. Shoebox gifts fill the hearts of children from over 100 different countries with hope, faith, and love.
I'm Sasha Germanis, and here are the top stories from the Category5.tv newsroom. The situation surrounding a recent Sony Pictures hack continues to worsen for the studio, with a new batch of documents having been released by the hackers that includes thousands of usernames and passwords. This includes a file directory simply called password, which includes, according to BuzzFeed, 139 Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, zip files, and PDFs containing thousands of passwords to Sony Pictures' internal computers, social media accounts, and web service accounts. One file the site found included hundreds of clearly labeled Facebook, MySpace, YouTube, and Twitter usernames and passwords for major motion picture social accounts. Others are for corporate news and research services and more. The hackers, a group calling itself Guardians of Peace, have also released personal information garnered from the attack. That includes the social security numbers of more than 47,000 current and former employees, as well as stars, including Sylvester Stallone, director Judd Apatow, and actress Rebel Wilson. Actors, freelancers, and others. According to MarketWatch, an analysis of 33,000 Sony documents by data security consulting firm Identity Finder LLC found personal data, including the salaries and home addresses posted online for people who stopped working at Sony Pictures as far back as 2000 and one who started in 1955.
You gotta be kidding me.
It's insane.
That's ridiculous.
Could you imagine, we're storing personal information about famous actors, celebrities, staff members, thousands upon thousands of them in Excel spreadsheets without passwords. No encryption.
Yay.
We've been over this in the show. I mean, that's bad practice for you at home, let alone a big company like Sony Pictures. Get hacked, compromised, all of a sudden. Guess what? Oh, we got a copy of your spreadsheet that has everything?
No. This is a story.
Really?
This is a story for Password Box.
Yeah, I'll say.
The hack has once again brought to the spotlight the risk that companies face in the digital age, where highly sensitive corporate and personal information can be stolen, especially when not properly secured. MarketWatch reports that much of the data analyzed by Identity Finder was stored in Microsoft Excel files without password protection. Wow. Jeez, Robbie, you have to link them up with Password Box.
I know. I mean, come on. I'm just like this right now.
Like, Sony, what are you thinking?
I know. Sony, come on. You make good movies, but you're dumb.
Here's great technological news.
Oh, good.
IBM's India-based research team has claimed that old laptop batteries still have enough life in them to power homes in slums. An IBM study analyzed a sample of discarded batteries and found 70% had enough power to keep an LED light on for more than 4 hours a day for an entire year.
Really?
Yeah. Researchers said that using discarded batteries is cheaper than existing power options and also helps deal with the mounting e-waste problem. The concept was trialed in the Indian city of Bangalore this year, and the adapted power packs are expected to prove popular with street vendors who are not on the electrical grid, as well as poor families living in the slums. If the recycled units, which would last a year, are made in sufficiently large volume, researchers estimate the price per unit at just 600 rupees, which is just under $10 US. The researchers are aiming to help the approximately 400 million people in India who are off-grid. That is incredible news.
If I'm hearing you right, a year of light
Yes.
from recycled batteries for $10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Batteries that have been discarded as unusable
Right.
for what we use them for would power an LED light bulb for 4 hours a day for an entire year. And really, I mean, after the sun goes down, how long do you need a light bulb for, right?
True enough.
That's a great advance.
That's good. Very good.
That's really cool.
British chip designer Imagination has produced a bare-bones computer to compete with the Raspberry Pi. Called the Creator CI-20, the board has a more powerful processor than the Pi, more memory, and more onboard storage. For its graphics, it uses a version of the Imagination chip that is also found inside Apple's iPad tablet. The small computer enters a growing and competitive market, with the Raspberry Pi already having sold almost 4 million units. Like its rivals, the C120 can run many different versions of open source operating system Linux, and it also can run the latest edition of Google's Android mobile operating system. It also has built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth for wireless data connections. By contrast, the BeagleBone Black and the Raspberry Pi B Plus devices have only Ethernet connectors built in. Tony King-Smith, a spokesman for Imagination, said the CI-20 was aimed at people who wanted a high-performance board for their development projects. The CI-20 will cost £50, around $65, and can be ordered now, though the first units will not be sent out until next month. Now, Robbie, I don't know a lot about Raspberry Pi or CI-20, so what would this be used for in daily?
A Raspberry Pi, for example, it's a very, very tiny computer. So this is the computer itself, which we're going to be playing with here on the show. We're just working on what projects we're going to do. But, I mean, imagine a self-contained computer that's this big. So it's got everything that you need. And as they say, the Raspberry Pi has Ethernet, but no built-in Wi-Fi. So you've got to buy a separate kind of thing in order to have Wi-Fi. But it's a computer, so you can do things like build your own home theater PC. Right? It's got HDMI output, so you can do HD video. You could build whatever. I mean, I'm thinking we're going to build a web server, for example, just as a test run to see how it will perform, do a fun project.
Yeah.
Build something that can be mounted on the back of a monitor, so you've got a self-contained all-in-one computer. Maybe it's touchscreen and you go through USB, and now you've got a controller as well, and it becomes a kiosk. So it's really down to your creativity, what you can do with something like this. So with the new one from Imagination being powered by the same kind of architecture that they use in the iPads, it's going to be pretty fast. I would think the performance would be really quite good.
Yeah.
And so then you get into maybe it becomes something that could be used to build, for example, your own video game console that you could create emulators on or something like that, because you've got more power, it's more robust, it's got more memory and more storage space, so you've got the ability to do more, just as you would expect.
That's incredible. Building your own video game console.
That would be neat.
Speaking
with
of
the size of it, I could build it into a controller.
Yes. Speaking of people who love video games, BioShock Infinite is considered the best game in the series and is one of the most acclaimed titles launched in 2013. And by the looks of it, it's coming to Linux.
All right.
Yeah.
BioShock Infinite features a very interesting storyline, and it was brought to life by one of the characters in the game, Elizabeth. The studio has been praised for implementing a very human interaction between the main character and Elizabeth, which made all the difference for this title. 4K Games has already brought a number of the titles to its catalog, to the open source platform, like the Borderlands series, the Civilization series, and even the latest XCOM. It was just a matter of time until some of the other titles would get the same treatment. The Steam database is a record of data describing every Steam game and subscription provided by Valve for the Steam service. Usually, the new entries are first visible in the Steam database before they are officially launched, and they should be released on all supported platforms at once. But there is no guarantee that that will actually happen. That said, the Linux version of BioShock Infinite is listed, so we're very hopeful. That is happy, great news for the Linux world. For all your tech news with a slight Linux bias, visit the category5.tv newsroom at newsroom.category5.tv. For the category5.tv newsroom, I'm Sasha Dermatis.